Well, good morning. It's Kim, and we're going to get to the weeds and some pruning and everything. Finally, getting that done out front. This is my front flower bed. You can see the maple tree that's just beginning to pop out some of its tiny little red leaves in the spring, and I immediately have to start attacking weeds. I've got a lot of the little weeds growing in here and there. They're not too bad since we preened the beds last summer. Preening does help a lot. Now, I've got a lot of little volunteer seedlings. This is the sedum album. It flowers white in the spring, and when a tiny little piece falls out of one of my Hypertufa bowls, it just starts to grow. You can see the different color differences here in my coral carpet. Usually comes out a little bit orange looking, and then the regular sedum album and the sexangulaire there. And I'm sure if you watch the channel much, you've seen this. I think this is the oldest one that I have, the oldest Hypertufa container. It's got a lot of age on it. It's 10, 12 years old, I'm not sure. The little evergreen that I have in it has done pretty well. It's been in there for a few years, but I'm planning to put baby tears there when I find them. Now there's Euphylii here, little old weed. That's the speedwell. Tiny little blue flowers come on the edge of it. It's real cute, but we can't let that get going and seed a lot. I may divide a few of these later on. I'm thinking of relocating a lot of those kind of plants. Now, the squirrels and chipmunks are helping me relocate, as you can see too. They like to dig them up for whatever reason. I'm not sure if they try to eat them or if they just like to dig. But you can see all the little volunteer seedlings. Got a lot of branches to pick up too. But I've got all those little seedlings that I'm going to fill some of my Hypertufa containers with. Some of the dandelions, look at that. They're growing real well. Can't let it make a puffball. I've got to get that out of there. That Hypertufa container, look at this. Look at that great big hunk that's been pulled out. Now that's sad that they pulled out such a giant hunk. But that one, I'll bury it. We'll see if it can recover. But anyway, this Hypertufa bowl here has miniature hosta in it. I think they were called blue mouse ears. Real cute. They fit this small bowl. It's only about a foot or 15 inches across. And these have just multiplied. They grow up every spring like this, looking real good. I may again put some baby tears in this. But first of all, I've got to find the baby tears. Now look at all that coral carpet. It comes out the prettiest orange look. It's a type of sedum album too, but it just cascades over the side. I'll probably give it a nice crew cut, just cut all those pieces along, and most of the time I take the extra and just throw them over the hillside. Got a lot on the hillside, but I'll show you that. And I'm not sure if that's kind of a strung out John Creech there or not. I'll have to figure that out. A little bit of digging going on. Now my old giant Hypertufa, I had the Swedish ivy and the erodium in that last fall, and I really like that. I thought it was very colorful and pretty. I may put the same thing, or I may decide to go with some sedum. Haven't really made up my mind, but I'll make another video and post that when I've decided. If I can work it out well enough, I'll try to film it too. But this one, I know in prior years I planted some bulbs in it, but the bulbs sprouted once, but I never had any blooms or anything from them. I don't know if the varmints ate them or dug them up. I wouldn't think that they would eat the crocus and daffodil, but then what do I know? Now this particular tufa, a big rectangular one, is where I planted the sedum sod tile. You can see how well that comes out. That's the sedum angelina, the emigrantian, and looks like there's some blue spruce in there too. but we've got a lot of different parts, and I can just pick that clean and reseed some new ones. Got a lot of it growing out there. Took out that bush that was here. I had some issues with it, and you can see I definitely need to cut out the edges of the flower bed because they're looking pretty bad. Oh, and here on my hill, right at the top of the hill, is a hardy geranium, the Roseanne. It has done very well. Coming back, I've got a lot of cleanup right there to do, but you never know when a cold snap's going to come, so I kind of hesitate to take that protection away. I think that's a spiderwort right there against the wall. We've got a little bit of Stella Doro, but you can see how that album is growing down the hillside. This one's going to need a rehab. It's been in there for so long, it's just almost exhausted from coming back each year in the same little amount of soil. Now walk around here down the hill. It's a little steep on this side, but you can see how that album, the sedum album, has grown through. It is surrounding all these boulders. And look how good of a weed suppression I have on this hill. It really, really mats out and suppresses all those weeds that might grow through. I'm sure there would be tons of it. But it's kind of spilling down the hill. Here and there you see a little bit of landscape fabric. I just need to pull that out. A few weeds. Oh, there's some of the Sedum hispanicum, little purple form that I've got there. But it's growing real well. There's some Angelina peeping through the rocks. But I'll have to kind of clean up this edge. And that's the graveyard moss, the Sedum sarmentosum. I'm hoping to get that started and finish out blanketing the rest of this hillside. At least down to where we have the main grass. There's some hairy bittercress. This stuff, I've got to get it while the flowering's happening, and also that wild lettuce or sow thistle, I'm not sure which that is. Get it before those blooms start. Weeping cherry's looking pretty good. Over on this side, I'm thinking about relocating some of my Hypertufa containers. I don't know, I've just had them kind of lining around and growing amongst the hardy geranium, but I may put them all together. And of course we've got some dandelions up in there. But if I can get down through there and get the root, then I'm ahead of the game. Look at that, I got a nice long root. May have broken off a piece, but hopefully not too much of it. And if he tries to grow back, I'll just get him again. And I'll put Preen out there to suppress the weeds. That works good for me. Now the bloom out is really going well. The tree, I'm maybe too cold in the morning for the bees to be out, but later in the afternoon the bees really start to buzz and swarm. And I just need to kind of keep it trimmed down a little bit. We like the umbrella shape. I will divide up some of these hens and chicks a little later on. I'd like them distributed a little more because they're forming a nice mat. And the urns are doing well with that Angelina. You can see how pretty and bright green it is. Oh, now here is going over. My grandson is helping me film so that I can get some shots of some of this. But it looks pretty good. There's just a few random seeds. I'm pretty pleased with the amount of weeds that are in here. Not too many. And those are little spirea bushes that I'm cleaning up around because I want to clean those out too. And there's another dandelion right by the big Hypertufa. We definitely want rid of him. And if I'm remembering correctly, that's where I had my Persian shield. And we just let it die out over the winter. Now this is my spirea. It's the gold flame. It comes out in little orange leaves in the early spring. And I just kind of mow it down. I don't like them to get very big. They could probably get about 3 or 4 feet across if I let them. But I like to cut them back in the early spring and let them grow out all nice and new and fresh. And they have little pink flowers, kind of a hot pink color. I think they look really good. So I just kind of trim them down. There's 2. And this is right near the front porch steps. Now I don't ever notice a scent to these, so I don't think these are the scented type spirea. But I just like the way they look. And they do best. You don't have to cut them down because they will come out on all those long stems, but I just like to control the size. And then right now there are a couple long branches and I want it to look nice and neat, so I'm just kind of popping off a few of those long branches right now. When the time to trim this, since it flowers in the spring, is to wait, and after all the flowering is done and it all is finished, then trim it real nice so that you get the shape you want, because you want to save next year's branches, next year's flowers. Now, I've got to stop my work, go to the dentist office. There's lots of tulips planted along there. I thought they looked really good. Anxious to see what they look like, but hope I don't have to come back to the dentist soon. But thanks for joining me today. I'll stop what I'm doing right now so I can get into the dentist, get a cleaning taken care of. It's a real pretty morning. You can see the sun up back behind me. But thanks for joining me, and I'll see you on the next video and we'll finish the weeding and cleanup. Bye-bye.